everyone, I'm JD from Willowbound Journals, and I've got a few exciting things to share with you in this video. There is a Journal With Me episode a bit later on for the second part of this video, but first of all, a few little announcements, or big announcements actually. The Journal Your Story trial course that is running in December, that is now open to all ladies 18 and over. It is $5 or 7 Aussie dollars roughly via the Journal Your Story members tier. So all you need to do is click the join button. If you can't see it, we've worked out that you can't see it on an iPhone. You can only see it on a tablet or laptop. And if you are on a tablet, you can only see that join button if you're on the website, not the YouTube app. So we were troubleshooting some things and working through some logistics with that. But basically, you click the join button and the different tiers appear for the different membership levels, and it's the Journal Your Story level. And basically, I'm sharing a whole bunch of video prompts, going through my process, doing these prompts with you guys. And it's a little bit of a taster for the full course, which will be a year-long course run in 2024, starting January. And basically, this course is a follow-on from the book that I've been working on all year. That book has just been such a big journey for me, and I'll kind of share my reflections about that in the Journal With Me portion of this video, about how it has transformed me and given me a creative journaling practice that helps me to stay in connection with myself, and it does wonders for my well-being and being able to accept myself. So in a nutshell, this course is a year-long course of creative and intentional living for self-discovery, self-growth, and self-acceptance. And yeah, I am very, very excited. If you would just like to see what it's all about and see if if you're interested but don't know if you're ready for the whole course or if the whole thing is what you're after, you can just try the tester course in December. So feel free to do that. Or if you know you can't afford the time or financial commitment of a whole year-long course next year, then this is also a good way to just get a month-long's worth of prompts. And I always say my courses aren't just for the time that you do the course. They're there to build up your toolkit of journaling prompts that you can turn to again and again whenever you need them, so that you have this creative journaling practice for life. So yeah, that is exciting. I'm just using a little tiny visual diary, but you can definitely use a bigger journal if you want. And then what I've decided is that in January, we are going to do the Intentional Life course together. This will be my third time running it, and that will be the January portion of the course for the Journal Your Story course. And basically this is the workbook that you will receive if you are doing this course with me. And it's basically like a bit of a book about my own story, my own process that I go through every single year. And I have a yearly practice where on New Year's Eve, I sit with my journal and I reflect on the previous year, and then I do all my goal setting, my word for the year, my quote for the year, my scripture for the year, setting my budget, setting my priorities, looking at my values, setting my goals, all that kind of thing, to live the most intentional, meaningful life that I can for the next year. So I find this such a valuable process. I don't want to give it up, so I'm going to incorporate it into the year-long Journal Your Story course, which is fitting anyway because it's a year of creative and intentional living. It's hand in hand. It's not just a journaling course, it is an art course, it's a self-discovery course, it is an intentional living life course with community as well. That's the fun thing about it, especially because just journeying with these ladies over the last 2 years that I've run this course, the Intentional Life course, it's just been the best thing for my own well-being and for my joy and my fun to journey with these lovely ladies. And I'm so excited I can't get it out. We're adding Zoom calls to the yearly course. So next year there will be at least monthly calls, perhaps fortnightly calls for those who can make it. And along with the Zoom calls, there will be weekly prompts, probably 2 to 3 prompts every single week, with video prompts showing my own process and stories and inspiration and resources and all that kind of stuff, all the things I normally do with my courses. And there'll be a Marco Polo group for those who want to have more connection and accountability. Marco Polo is basically where we send videos to each other throughout the year. It's so fun. And there will be a Facebook group too for people who want to post photos of their work or just ask questions or get support through that way. So I'm very excited. If you'd like to be part of it, feel free to join now, or you can email me if you know you want to be part of the January course. You want to skip the December one because maybe it's too busy in December and you're just like, yeah, I know I'm on board for January, or you're just interested in the January course. Feel free to email me either way to register or to show your interest or ask questions for more information. And I need your email anyway because that's how I organize the Zoom calls. So all the scheduling and the links to the Zoom calls will be done through email. We had our first 2 Zoom calls already for the December course, and oh my goodness, I'll tell you what, they were such a blast. I was a buzz after the Zoom call ended. I was just like full of like buzz. It was just so fun. It was like I had been at a party. It was amazing. So amazing. So another thing I wanted to share before we get to the Journal With Me video and reflecting on the year is this printable that I created for it. So that's what I've got here. I've cut it up, but I intended it for it to be cut in half so you can stick it into an A5 size journal. But yeah, I've just cut mine up to show you another way you can do it if you have a smaller journal, and just include the boxes that you want to include. But this is a printable that helps me do my reflecting on the year. So I've got some for 2023 and then one for 2024. And this, yeah, like I said, will go along with the course. I just want to show you that you can print it out big too if you want like extra more fun journaling space. And I've got like different options of size boxes in case you know you're going to journal a lot, or however much you're going to journal. There's little boxes for each. But I know some people get intimidated by a box this large, so it's much more doable to just do like a dot point list, whereas other people want lots of space. So I've got both options for both types of journalers. But this is sort of my process here. I record the major events of the year, my highlights, any achievements, thinking about the goals that I set and did I achieve those goals is what I'm specifically looking at there. My word for the year, reflecting on how that was showing up in my life this year, and if it's still my word, and if there's any other words that are now becoming my word, and then how did I grow from this year. And you'll see when I do my journaling later, I added the other boxes for my own prompts, so stuff like the lessons that I learned from the year and my scripture for the year. So you can add your own little headings. That's why I intended it for a blank sheet and one that has my method as well. And then there's one for 2024, just with slightly different things and relevant ones that I would use for my goal setting in 2024. And again, you have the different size boxes and things. So that is one PDF that is available for the course. And what I've decided, I am going to make it available for anyone who is interested in this, a freebie via email. So if you would like this, I am finally going to start my email list. For the last couple of years, I keep posting on Facebook in the Willowbound Journals group page. I'm like, would anyone be interested in an email list where I send little life updates, photos of my cat, discounts to my Etsy shop, announcements whenever I have a sale, first point of, if I have had anything to announce, the email list people will hear it first, that kind of thing, discounts to, I already said that one, to printables and journals and things like that, and first access and stuff like that. And I had quite a few people respond and say, yep, please put me on the email list. And for a whole year, I did nothing with it. So I thought, if I make it a freebie available for the email list, that way I have to do it. That way, this is what I have to do. I have to trick myself to keep my own self accountable. So if you're interested in this printable, or if you would just like this printable, feel free to email me. My email's all down below in the description box, and I will send this to you. And then that way, you know, I don't know how often I will email you. At this rate, it'll probably be like once a year. But if I get on some sort of roll, maybe once a month, a little check-in, or just whenever I have something new to share, I'll do that. So if you would like to be on the email list and you don't even want the printable, but you just want to be on the email list, feel free to, email me. And this is just a sneak peek of what you'll get. So if you email me straight away, you'll get this one. And then next year, January 1st, I will email this next freebie. So this is something I've wanted to do for quite a while. I have been keeping a Word document on my computer, on my laptop, that records the months of each year with just a list of the major things that happened that year. Thing is, with that document, I keep forgetting to update it, so there's large gaps. There's very, very large gaps in that document. But I thought I could create this printable for my own self to put in my journal at the end of each year. Because I know my journals are quite large, I like larger journals. I know I can just cut this in half and stick that directly on a page at the end of every month, and then that will help me reflect. Maybe I could even cut it out and put in my Daphne's diary at the end of the month, because I always cover up those monthly pages at the very end. And so I thought I'll make this available too for anyone who's interested. Maybe it will help you as well. Maybe you just even want a journal just of these monthly pages for however many years it lasts. I'm thinking maybe I should do that for myself, because that would be such a great record. And I've got events, highlights, and notes. So I made them pretty broad, but I also left space so if you did want to add a line here, you can add your own categories. And so for me, I know I want the category of reading, the books that I read that month, and maybe anything that I was learning that month, or gratitude or something. So notes I left open-ended so you could kind of adapt that to what you want, but also add lines to add your own categories. This box here is for the photo of the month, either your favorite photo for the month or a photo that sums up that month for you, which I've also done for the year. And I'll show you that in my journal with me portion of this video. So that is for helping journaling and reflecting and living intentionally. And yeah, like I said, email me if you're interested in that. Let's do the flip through of this. There's so much to gather and share in this video. So excited. Okay, so little sneak peek of the prompts. This is my introduction page, putting yourself in a collage and just some words that describe me. We start off with some perhaps challenging prompts for people to scribble in your journal and to put your handwriting into your journal, because this tackles the two biggest obstacles I hear from people about journaling. And as a journaling teacher, my aim is to get you journaling and loving using your journal. So I need to come straight up and tackle this one right at the first front, forefront, whatever. So scribble is good. And if you become a Journal Your Story participant, course journaler, you will hear that story behind that. I'm not going to share the whole thing here. It's a bit of an involved story, but basically the two biggest obstacles I hear are, I don't want to journal because I will ruin the pages. I'm too scared to ruin my journal. And this idea is that even if you make the biggest mess and just scribble in your journal, you haven't ruined it. Because if you're expressing yourself, however that comes out, however ugly it comes out, however messy it comes out, there's still so much value and beauty in that, because it's part of us. And that's what this whole point of the course is if we can accept ourselves in our journals, we can be so much more gracious to ourselves in real life, and then we become kinder people towards ourselves, and then kinder people towards others. And then the other obstacle that I hear is, oh, I don't write in my journals because my writing is terrible. Again, it's not about having beautiful handwriting. It's about just expressing yourself and recording your memories and your stories and your life in your journal. However messy your writing is, it doesn't matter. Just get the details down, get the things down that you need to express, that you need to let out for your own well-being and for looking back on and reflecting over what you have done in your life and who you are. Because from the start of the year to the end of this year, I'm a different person, which again I'll share when I share this journaling video, portion of the video. Then we did a swatch page, and we're going to do this throughout the year next year. Different swatches, different types of styles of swatching. It's going to be so much fun. This course combines sort of two types of prompts: creative technique prompts, it's just for pure joy of creating, and then the other side is journaling prompts, the writing for self-discovery and for reflection and more intentional living. So that's one of the writing prompts. I tried to do that on this page spread to show this is an example of a creative prompt, this is an example of a reflective journaling prompt. Then we're gathering quotes, because next year for the full course we're going to choose one quote that will be our guiding sort of quote that guides how we want to live, basically. The things I love page, I always love doing this. This is one of those journaling pages I turn to again and again whenever I need it. Just covering the page with any piece that I love from my scrap box and then writing a list of things I love. So fun. And I will now switch over to the journaling video where I will do a voiceover and share with you my reflections on the year. And if you are getting the printable for this, I really hope you enjoy reflecting on your own year. Well, even if you don't get the printable, honestly, anyone can reflect. You don't need a printable to reflect. May you have fun reflecting on your year, just taking some time, some quiet you time, and some time for self-care, just to reflect and to think about your year. I always like to do that first, of course, before I step into thinking about my goals and values for the next year. So I'm going to switch over to the journaling video portion, and I'll see you then. Okay, so here we are with the Journal With Me episode and voiceover, and I am just loving this journal. I was thinking, oh, how much can I do in just this little taster month-long course? But now that this journal is filling up, as with any journal, the more you fill it up, the more special it becomes, the more of a treasure it becomes. And I'm just falling in love with this journal. I was just like, at the beginning, oh, it's tiny, you know, this will just be like a scrap draft journal, whatever. But now I'm like, no, this is such a great record of my month. And now I'm being much more intentional about it, filling up these pages and having it be this wonderful record of my month, as well as being draft pages, sort of test pages for the full course next year. Okay, but basically what I'm going to be doing here, because the journal is so tiny, I'm going to go over 4 pages. Usually if I was in my bigger journal, I'd only do a 2-page spread, or maybe even a 1-page spread, because I'm going to be using a very big journal next year for the Journal Your Story course. It's A4 size, and I do recommend an A4 size journal because it's going to be very visual. We're going to be using any supply and every supply, paint and collage and everything. So I want big space to work with. So here, basically, what you're seeing in the background are some papers that are examples of artwork we are going to do in the course. So we are going to have fun with paint. This is just done with acrylic with the 3 primary colors and a bit of white. And I love that you can make every single color, every single shade of color just with the 3 primaries. And there's something so amazing about creating them yourself. As a creative person, I've always loved, that we can create what's in our head and put on the page, or just create something magical, and then with these paints, if you love color like I do, I've always been drawn to colors, pencils and textures and crayons. When I was a kid, I always would choose the rainbow when I was drawing, and I love swatching and I love color, and I really just love making as many colors as I can and making pretty colors, and it's just so fun, and I really am hoping that you get so much joy out of it too if you are going to be doing this with me. And so I just keep making pages and pages like this. And there's been 2 courses that I've taken where both the teachers share the same sort of exercise like this. So you might have seen it before, but yeah, it's so fun, and it feels magical to be able to create all these colors myself. And then basically you can cut them up, which is what I've done, and create background pages. I have cut these up to make pages for my book. But here I'm cutting them up smaller to make little pages for my journal. And I'm cutting out the little boxes from the printable and just arranging them on the page to do my journaling on. And the photo that I chose to sort of snapshot the year is a photo of my beautiful cat Keanu checking out some of the pages of my book. I laid out all the pages that I'd done so far at the time on the floor and just took a photo of them. And I really loved that Keanu was just interested and he's giving his like stamp of approval, his paw of approval of my book pages. And that represents that basically my one main goal this year was just working on the book. I did, for those who don't know, a year-long bookmaking course this year with one of my absolute favourite authors and artist, Sabrina Ward Harrison, and it's been really amazing. I've loved the course. I'm so thankful for it, and hoping to get a book out of it. I mean, there will be a book out of it, but I got everything I needed out of that book. My aim going into the bookmaking course was to publish a book at the end of it, but now I got my goal. I got everything I needed out of it. I felt seen. I felt supported by my creative practice. I felt connected to myself through my journaling and through art, through creating those book pages. And all through that course, I started realizing, wow, this could turn into, all through the bookmaking and doing my pages, I started realizing, wow, these pages could be prompts for my next journaling course. And then finally, it all just came together and I was just so inspired. And when I know I'm jumping out of my skin, that's when I know it's time to do something about it. And so that's when I launched, the taster course for December. And I when I'm just inspired, I just go with it. I run with it. I don't necessarily think things out in advance because I'm just running on pure inspiration. And I say inspiration can take you anywhere. That's one of my quotes I came up with last year. Inspiration can take you anywhere, and it's taking me to this new year-long course that I'm combining with the Intentional Life course because I want to share this thing that has helped me so much in my life, where this book gave me everything I needed for my own well-being and for my own connection with self. And basically, I've got so much to share. I'm trying to get it all out in order. I'll get to that as I fill in the little boxes. So let me go with what I'm filling out at the moment. My word for this year was explore. And it was all about a year of playing and experimenting and just seeing what comes and being content where I am. Last year, I didn't have a very good year. It was maybe one of the worst years of my life, to be honest. It was a really rough year, and not like just personally, but everything around me. Some really terrible stuff happened to, people around me. And I was just going through a bit of a rough time. I probably was depressed some of last year, to be honest. Quite depressed some of last year. There were a lot of tears, and just a lot of thoughts of, I don't want to be here. I don't want to, not like I wanted to live. I wasn't like that, because I know what that's like. Back in 2015 and 16, I actually did not want to be here because life was just so painful. So it wasn't that. It was more, I just didn't want to be in my life how I'd set up my life, basically. I wanted a different life. It wasn't that I didn't want to live like back in 2015 and 16. It wasn't that I didn't want to live. It was just that I wanted the pain to end. This was different. This was, I just didn't want the life I had. I wanted a different life. And I always kept thinking, if only this or if only that, then my life would be better. And so what I had to learn at the end of last year was, no, things are good now. Everything is fine. I live in a first world country. I have healthcare, I have education, I have food, I have a roof over my head. I have a creative job that so many people would look at my life and think I'm living the dream. And so I was just learning to love my life as it is, and be content with it, and know that if nothing changed, everything is still good, and so that was my idea about going into this year, was just be okay with where you are. It's not going to get better when things are just fine right now. And then with that contentment, without being like, I need to be over there and I need this to happen and I need that to happen, I could just relax. I could just stress less and be content with where I am. And then that allowed me to be free to explore, because I'm not a person who usually explores. I'm a person who's usually very cautious, very reserved, doesn't try anything new. And so, or I'm very planning. I'm a planner. I have a goal and I do that goal, and I don't leave room for spontaneous things and trying new things out. So this year I was like, no plan, because I'm content with where I am, and I will just explore and have fun and see where the year takes me. And that's what I did. My book pages reflect that. Because my book pages are so experimental. They're all over the place. There's so many different techniques I tried, and so many different layouts and designs that I did. It's like a jumbled mess, but I love it because it reflects my year of exploration and finding my style and that kind of thing. So yeah, explore was my word for the year, and just having gratitude for where I am and accepting where I am and growing, and yeah, that was me. That was my word. Events for the year. I was in Melbourne for Christmas holidays and New Year's, so that was the first thing. Had a bit of a traumatic experience with jury duty. I did dance, which was great for my well-being. I did ballet and adults dance, and did 2 dances for each for the concert, which was 4 dances, which was crazy. I've never done more than 2. It was quite stressful, but managed to get through it. And then I wrote about the course, the bookmaking course. Started YouTube membership. So every year it seems it just naturally happens that I sort of progress with my with Willow Bound Journals and my small business. I first started YouTube, and then I started Etsy, and then I started Patreon, and then I started teaching journaling courses. And then this year I started adding the YouTube membership, which is really cool. And next year, I've already got the thing, Zoom calls. Zoom calls is the thing for next year. So it's really fun just seeing that kind of progression and my own growth in confidence to be able to do these things. If you'd asked me before if I would be on YouTube, I'd be like, no. If you asked me if I would do Patreon, no. If you asked me if I would be doing Zoom calls, no way. And just Willow Bound Journals and being on YouTube, honestly, has been such a growth journey for my own self-confidence. So thank you guys for being part of that. Like, you're just so kind and super encouraging and supportive, and your comments really help me to believe in myself, I guess, and believe in what I do, and to keep going with it. So thank you so much. You've had such a big hand in not just like my creative business, but in me as a person. And I don't know if that comes across, but I just want to say it straight out there. You've had such a big role in my life as a person. The Intentional Life course was my 2nd year running that, and that I love doing that. Oh, I have to write about the Beyond Blue fundraiser as well. And also I forgot 2 other things. The 2 holidays that I had, the mini holidays, and seeing whales and seeing Ulysses butterflies in the wild. I need to write that down too. So I need to do some more journals. But that's okay, because I'm actually going to do my bigger reflection in my yearly journal as well. My highlights for the year: phone chats with my sister. We would chat for like an hour and a half at a time. I just love sharing about what I'm learning and what I'm reading and what I'm thinking about. The Creative Circle, the course participants from the bookmaking course that I'm doing, has just been so good for my well-being as well. Having like-minded people to share with every week as we keep each other accountable with our books. And that's kind of my aim for the course that I'm going to be running next year with the Journal Your Story course. There will be the option of more regular Zoom calls for those who feel like they need that, because I just love that. Having those weekly calls is super helpful, and we're going to continue that next year. So that's so great. I won a writing competition. I think that's my biggest achievement or highlight for the year. I've never won a writing competition. I've come 2nd before, and I've come 3rd before. This is my first time winning like a proper competition, and I didn't think it was anything amazing. I wrote this story, and let me know if you, maybe on the email list, I could send you that story as part of the email list. this is so fun. I can send some more personal kind of stuff through email. If you're interested in reading that story, it's only 500 words, just a one-page story. And if you want to hear the story behind that, I'll share more about that maybe in the email. But yeah, I didn't think it was anything amazing, but the judge said, I will never forget her comment that she said about my story. She said, with every line, it was vulnerable and honest, and it gave the gift of a visceral reaction. And she said that if a piece can make the reader cry, then you know it's a true writer. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm a true writer? That's so crazy. So that was super, super encouraging, in particular for the book that I'm working on, because you know how I hear a lot of creative people, journal makers, lacking confidence in their journals, not knowing if they're any good. I know how you feel in relation to writing. Even though writing is my first love, my first kind of passion in terms of a hobby, that's the one that I don't feel as confident in. I'm very confident in creating journals and in my art, but when it comes to my writing, that's something I don't like sharing with people as much. With my art, I'm happy to show anyone and everyone, but it's my writing that I hold close, and I'm like, I can't show this to anyone. It's too scary and intimidating to share this, and I'm no good as a writer, and I have all those thoughts about my writing. So it's super encouraging about my book, and just to, get it out there. Because I'm nervous. I got everything I needed out of it. I don't care if other people see it anymore, because I got all I needed. But that's probably fear talking, because I'm like, I don't want other people to see this. Oh my goodness, my heart and soul poured out in words. But I definitely want to publish it and have it available. So that is my goal, definitely still. Okay, and what am I writing here? So I also won the game in the Psychology in Saddle 15th live anniversary. There were 15 winners, so that's not as big a deal to win that game, but I think it's a big deal because, Psychology in Saddle is the podcast that I support, and Willow Bound Journals, I'm calling it now, Willow Bound Journals support Psychology in Saddle, because they help people with mental health and well-being, and that's something I always want to support. And I am a lifelong patron of theirs. I'm a YouTube member of theirs, and I love supporting them in every single way that I can. And it was just, so exciting. Anyway, so moving on to this next page that I did. I just wrote about the 4 dances that I did in the concert, because I kind of already wrote some of my achievements in the highlights section. And then I wrote about the lessons that I learned this year. How you've probably heard me talk about this on my channel multiple times, because it was the biggest lesson I learned all year. I am made to wrestle with flowers, meaning I'm made to think deeply about everything, and to find gems in the struggle. I'm made to struggle, and made to find the gold in the dirt and the darkness. And I am okay with that. I believe it's a human condition type thing, that in this life we are going to struggle. And I have learned to embrace it, and to know that out of the struggle comes the purest of gold and the best of gold and the most gold. So bring on the struggle. And I am the Willow Princess. That's something I found out this year, declaring that finally I love sparkles and tiaras and tutus, and I love... I just love the aesthetic of sort of that fairy princess style, and I'm just leaning into it and loving it, and going with it. Other lessons, see this moment. If you can just be in this moment instead of wishing for something else, then you're going to be so much more content. And that goes along with what I talked about with the word for the year. And for me, seeing this moment is helped by this creative practice of journaling and creating, and something I want to teach in the Journal Your Story course. If I just teach nothing else, it's to see, whenever we are journaling, whenever we are creating art, whenever we are putting down something on a page, this is us being right here in that moment, and being with ourselves and seeing ourselves. And that is the biggest lesson I got out of the book that I worked on this year. And so I want to pass it on. Every single prompt we're doing is a chance to be in this moment and to appreciate this moment and who we are in this moment. And then the final lesson, be here and be loved. And I won't say too much about that one because that's the biggest lesson that is in my book. And then growth. Hang on, let me go to scripture. So I've got two sort of scriptures this year. And they are, I have everything I need, I lack nothing. And I'm kind of paraphrasing them to suit my own, the way they speak to me. And every good thing I have comes from God. So definitely love those. And then growth, and this is where I want to kind of go into how this book has helped me, and then how this course I hope will help you. So at the start of this year, I felt untethered and unraveled. And yeah, I felt like I'd lost myself again. It was different to when I had depression and anxiety in 2015-16. Back then it felt like I was an absolute ghost. It felt like I wasn't even a person. It felt like I didn't even exist. This was different. At the start of the year, I felt like I was a person and I felt like I existed. I just lost part of what made me me, that kind of thing, and didn't know myself anymore. And through making my book and doing art and journaling, I found myself again, and I met myself again. And it came through that thing, like I said before, it came through seeing myself on the pages. That's how I met myself again. That's how I found myself again. And now I can say at the end of the year, I feel tethered again. I feel like I have something to hold on to now. And I feel like all my pieces are together. Before I felt unraveled, meaning all my pieces were scattered and shattered everywhere. But now I feel like I'm all together again. I feel much more together again. I feel much more tethered and raveled, if that's a word, again. Because I know other people like to be untethered. They want to be free and loose. And for me, I felt like I was spread everywhere and I had no idea what I was anymore. And I needed to gather my pieces to find myself again. And so I share much more about that kind of story and all of that in the course. This course, if this is speaking to you, if you're in that place of you're not really knowing yourself or struggling to accept yourself or just feeling a bit frazzled and untethered and feeling a bit scattered and a bit broken, that kind of thing, then this is who I've made the course for. And this course isn't going to be for everyone. Like I say, it is a year-long commitment. It's a large time commitment and also a large, financial commitment for this whole year. I'm just going to loop this video because I've got more to say. But the idea being, it is a commitment. The bookmaking course, I use this as an example. The bookmaking course was thousands of dollars. And so that was a huge commitment for me to do that financially. But because of that commitment, I was like, all right, I'm going to turn up to everything. Every single thing that there is, I will be there to participate. So because it's American based, all the Zoom calls were not at good times for me. They were at like 3 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 11 p.m. I don't think any of the calls were at a good time for me, but I set my alarm for every single one of those early morning calls, or I stayed up late into the night for them, and I made every single one that I could. Obviously if I was on holidays or away or sick, I didn't make it, but for every other one, I turned up for every single one because I was committed. I'm like, I'm not going to miss out on anything. I want to soak up every single thing from this course, and I want to be there for each of my course participants. I want to be there for the teacher, and I want to show up and be a good student and all that kind of thing. And I'm just saying this to kind of share that kind of level of commitment that I am sort of seeking in this course. So I know this course is not going to be for everyone, and I know definitely people have kids and full-time jobs, 9-to-5 jobs. I'm lucky that, I could set my alarm for 3 a.m. because I could sleep in. And I know that's not going to be possible for some people, and that's totally okay. I'm not expecting this level of commitment from people who have other commitments. Your own life and your family are your first priority. They're your first commitment. But if you can make the Zoom calls, and if you can be there for each other, and for me as your teacher, and for yourself, most importantly, for your own creative practice, and for this to be for your own well-being, for you to get as much out of it, for you, first and foremost, this is for you to have me time, for you to have creative time, for you to have reflection time throughout the year. And you know, all of us, me as your teacher and all the course participants are going to be there to support you, because we're all going to be committed equally to this process. And so if this is sounding exciting to you, I know some people it's not going to be the right timing, or you're not in the right place. You're like, yeah, I know who I am. I already have a creative practice. I'm good. But if you're where I was sort of last year, and even where I am this year, you know, even though I do feel much more tethered and all that kind of thing, I still want to keep up this creative process and be accountable for it, and keep doing this for my own well-being. It wasn't like I'm doing this book, done, never going to do that again. No, I'm going to continue making pages for myself, and maybe that one day they'll turn into book pages for my next book. But yeah, I'm going to continue making pages. My journal pages are like book draft pages, and it's all just my own thing to see myself and know myself. So if this whole video has been speaking to you, you know who you are. I'd love to hear from you. Email me to register, or if you have any questions, email me. If you're already on board and you're like, yep, I'm in, feel free to try out the tester course as well in December. Otherwise, yeah, get in touch for the January course, the January start, and so I can email you the Intentional Life workbook and the printables, and all the details about materials, the materials list, and Zoom calls and everything like that. Let me know what time zone you're in as well, and what times suit you for Zoom calls. So yeah, I am super excited. Big thank you to the ladies who are doing the course already in December, who are helping me workshop the course, and helping me think of a new title for the course, because I don't feel like Journal Your Story is quite fitting what I'm getting at. And workshopping how many prompts. They've helped me to know that it will be 2 to 3 prompts a week, so thank you for that, ladies. They're also helping me work out the price point for the course, so thank you, ladies, as well with that. And they're helping me. We'll vote on a name for the course, and they're going to help me work out the schedule for the Zoom calls and all that kind of thing. So if you want to help me be part of that, and you want to join in for that in December, you don't have to let me know, you can just join straight away. But you don't have to help me workshop it either. I've opened the doors to anyone who would just like the taster in December. So yeah, so exciting. It's a go at your own pace course too, so don't freak out if you're like, oh, I missed all the prompts already. That's totally fine. A lot of the ladies do what I do. I watch the videos as they come out, but then I just do them once a week, the prompts themselves, and I just do like 5 prompts in one day. Other people like doing it more regularly, maybe daily journaling or every couple of days. Me, I tend to 1 day a week just do them all in one go. so yeah, easy to catch up if you're doing it that way. You can just do all the prompts in one go. Or other people are just sitting back and watching. They're not doing the journaling yet because they're like, yep, I'm doing the January course, the year-long course, so I'm just going to sit back and watch, and then I'll start the journaling part in January. So feel free. I'm sort of also doing it like a preparation course, so like things to think about, things to get ready, things to gather, things to collect, and things to reflect on, so that you're ready to dive into the creative journaling part in January. So yeah, I hope I've covered everything. It's a very long video. I didn't expect it to be this long, but there's a lot to share when you're starting a new course, and it's big on my heart, and I've got so much that I've got out of it. I hope it gives you so much too, and yeah, look forward to continuing journaling in the December course, and for any who would like to join in January. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this very, very, very long video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys. A big special thank you to my beautiful patrons who supported me in the month of November. If you would like to become a patron and get access to my journal making series videos and other videos and printables and every single digital kit from my Etsy, you can click the Patreon link down below in the description box to join that. If you would like to become a YouTube member, where you get access to extra videos and member requested videos right here on YouTube, not over on my Patreon website, then there is a join button you can click below this video but above the description box. And if you're looking for some journaling inspiration or something to kickstart your journaling, I also have a whole bunch of journaling courses, including the Intentional Life course, and that I run all year long for anyone who would like to join. So the information is down below for that in the description box as well. And those are all different ways that you can support what I do here over on YouTube and with Willow Bound Journals.